Hi guys, welcome back to my chaotic little corner of the internet. So today is gonna be short and sweet. I'm gonna do another little casting, but today we're gonna try to cast with stones actually in place. So there will be stones in the flask in the kiln. There's gonna be stones in the flask when we do the actual pouring of the silver. So we're just gonna try it out today because that is something I have just actually never done but always wanted to do. A little quick housekeeping: if you've been watching any of the other casting, metalsmithing kind of videos that I've been doing recently, I smushed all those into one playlist. So if you don't want to see any of the other content, like me at theme parks or when I work on my clothing line, or me work on the RV or anything like that, you can just hopefully subscribe, and then maybe you can just go and watch all those on the playlist because I will be keeping that one updated. We have lots of fun projects that I have planned. So another thing to note before we actually get in the cast is that you actually can't cast all stones. Not all stones are hard enough to withstand the burnout process. So really you're gonna have to stick to things like diamonds or sapphires or emeralds. In this case, I have two stones that we're going to cast. I'm just going to do two pieces because I am a little bit low on silver. The two pieces that we're going to do, I have two cabochons. One is a bullet cabochon. It's a 3mm garnet, and the other stone is a 6mm pink sapphire. So it'll be really pretty if I can, not infinity stone it away. So with that being said, let's get casting. Maybe I will insert a picture if that is a little hard to see. All right, so this is the littlest tree ever, but I'm really doing it this way because I am really short on silver. I'm waiting on my silver order to come in. So really I just, I made a little mark with my X-Acto knife, which is right where this is gonna hit. And I don't wanna have too much extra material in here just simply because I really don't have that much silver, but I feel like I had just enough to do this cast, so I don't wanna have a lot of extra stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna weigh this just like this because that's how much silver I need. I'm gonna weigh it before I go ahead and attach it to my rubber base. So weigh it, and then I'm going to convert it into sterling silver weight. I'll post the link to that website down below. But yeah, so far I think these look pretty cute. And once I get that in there, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little 99% alcohol on here just to get it nice and clean, and then we'll wrap this up with tape and we'll be ready to cast in the morning. All right, I need a sturdy base. I really am trying to make sure that this is extra sturdy because I really don't want anything to shift a little bit. I feel like it's more important because if it shifts, then I think the stone maybe won't be in the place where I want it. So I'm just giving that a little extra attention. Could be wrong, could be right, but I think I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't want to have a bunch of dust and garbage in there. Specifically, I want to make sure I don't have a bunch of garbage around where the stone is. This is going to be tricky too. I made sure that I left like the same shape where the stone is in the back. I'm sure you cannot see that. It's, despite all my lighting, it still feels dark in here. But it's kind of hard since I have a lot of that melting detail on the front. There's not really a good place for me to sprue this. So hopefully these back pieces, since it's flat, that'll be okay. And then that's something that won't be too hard for me to just clean up with the flex shaft. And this is just a, I don't know if I really explained this last time. This is just like a cheap little painter's brush. I make sure it's nice and clean. And then here I just have some 99% alcohol. I'm just gonna kind of paint it on, just make sure it's really clean. I like this because I feel like it keeps the bubbles off. But you know what? I mean, the investment we have, that investment powder we have, is really so good. It's supposed to help with bubbles and having a nice smooth surface. So I just feel like, you know, you put so much time and effort and money and whatnot into this, why not? You know, I think this bottle was like just a couple bucks, so especially in these little tiny grooves in the back, because that would be really a difficult place, I think, to get the bubbles cleaned up from. Might end up doing some damage, you know. All right, I feel pretty good about that. I'll let that should dry in a few minutes. Then we'll go ahead and get that put here, and I'm gonna go measure all my metal out. All right, can you guys see in there? It's a little guy, but it's pretty centered. All right, I think this is ready to go. Make sure that's on there, but I am pretty happy with that. All right, so I'm just gonna wait for this to heat up. That is actual temperature, that is my goal. I found that 965 was kind of right where I like to be. So I'm gonna wait on this to heat up, and I'm waiting on my flask to cool down. Okay, so it's morning, and this still looks like this because we couldn't quench it. Since there's stones inside, we had to wait for it to cool completely. I'm also being careful because I don't want to damage the pieces. All right, this is very exciting. I'm gonna leave that in there. Don't need this guy anymore. I'm gonna go get a brush. I don't see the garnet, so I might have to sift through here. Oops. That's kind of curious, because I would have thought that that was in there really good. So I don't see any cracks in the sapphire. I think that looks pretty good. I don't have any bubbles or anything like this. This, I would say, for the most part, came out how I wanted it, but I think the stone is missing. I will keep you guys posted on that front. Okay, so I would say that this was mostly a pretty successful cast. The one with the pink sapphire, and again, this is the one that was a 6mm sapphire. This one came out really perfectly. This one looks exactly like how I carved it out of with the Ferris wax. This looks like perfect. Now this guy looks, I actually got a really good cast of just like the silver and that like melting detail I tried to do, but there is no garnet in here, which is no bueno. I don't know if it cracked or disintegrated, who knows. My investment is like suspiciously pink. I will say that. I'm gonna go through like the bucket and the investment and see if I can find it or pieces of it or something like that. But some of the things I have learned previously led me to believe that I should have been able to cast a garnet. And even going on like Reddit, people said that if they had trouble with a garnet, it was usually anything that was larger than 3mm. So this was exactly 3mm, so I thought that I was safe, and I honestly thought it was in there pretty good. It has to be that maybe when the investment, the bubbles came up out of the investment or something, maybe it wasn't in good enough and maybe knocked the stone out. So I'm not really sure if the stone just got knocked out or if it just didn't survive the process. So I am gonna dig through and see if I can find it or pieces of it, and maybe remake it. But so the one with the sapphire, I feel like came out good enough where I could clean it up and then maybe make a mold out of it. So I'm excited about that. So let me know in the comments down below, have you guys ever tried casting with a garnet before? Do you have any maybe tips for me? I am open to advice. So coming up in the next couple of videos, I have a few other different types of casting experiments I'm gonna do. If you watch that video where I unboxed the Bamboo A1 Mini 3D printer, I have a few things I want to try to 3D print and then do a cast with those. So something else that I've actually done in the past that has been fun casting wise is casting with natural organic materials. I've cast popcorn, I've cast seashells, you can do twigs or bugs, things like that. So I'm gonna maybe do a cast with that. And then I'm gonna probably try to do some casting methods where we will still use like the melting furnace, but there's ways where you don't really need to use the vacuum or you don't need to use the kiln. So just a few other ways to cast. I will share that with you guys when I get to it, but I've got a lot of work to do and I have ordered some stuff that's coming in the mail. It's gonna be fun and I'll show you when it gets here. Otherwise, that's gonna do it for me today. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think? How did it go? I think the one came out good, but I think the other one I might have to scrap. Anyway, I don't want to drag this video out. I don't want to make it long, so I'm gonna bid you adieu. That's it for me today. I will see you in the next one. Go forth, be kind, be creative.